ScouterStan. Let's talk a little bit about the Scout Oath and what it really means in today's world. Now, for a lot of listeners to the podcast that are overseas, they think of the Scout Oath, what we think of in the United States, they think of it as the Scout Promise. For the discussion today, let's go with Scouting America's Scout Oath. Over time, this was literally changed from the promise that was originally written in the handbook that Baden-Powell put together, Scouting for Boys. And it's kind of neat in a digital world where you can actually look up the original Scout Promise and see what we have today. Now, this was completely rearranged, but the core value is still there. The three big promises that are part of the Scout Oath, and they, in turn, represent the three upright fingers in the Scout sign. Now, Baden-Powell, back in 1908, when he was rewriting this book, going from his military manual about scouting, going in for the youth of the time, the boys of Great Britain, and coming up with his Scouting for Boys. This was very impressive, and it went from being just an English youth organization, it quickly spread across to the States. So his influence was still there. Baden-Powell's moral guidance that was part of the Scout Promise was then molded by Daniel Beard and Ernest Seton in the American program, and it became the Scout Oath. Now, if you have a chance, there is an audio or podcast of the three promises of the Scout Oath. So you'll have to kind of look through the catalog of all the different podcasts that are there. Now, when the promise was adapted from Baden-Powell by Daniel Beard and Ernest Seton, some of the things still hold true, such as the word duty and honor. And they have even a deep meaning today with youth. Now let's break down a little bit of what's in the American Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best. Now, to a lot of scouts, honor is something that should be discussed and talked about, how that is directly related to the Scout law in trustworthiness. Honor is one of those things that you live with, but you can lose so quickly, and it's very difficult to get back. And when they say the words, I will do my best, it's a work in progress. It's not perfection. It's not absolutely demanded that on your honor, you're going to be absolutely perfect all the time. Humans make mistakes. It happens. So it is literally a work in progress. Doing your best today means making an effort towards a better tomorrow. To do my duty to God and country. This is literally the first promise that we make, that on our honor, we're going to do our best for God and country. Duty to God is one of those things that can be interpreted as faith and having that personal values of that faith, integrity and service within that faith. And when we say duty to country, we are being responsible citizens now and in the future. We respect other people's diversities and other different points of view. We believe in volunteering and helping others. And we also have a foundation of patriotism and to obey the Scout law. Now, this is where the Scout law is directly connected to the oath. All 12 all the key words of the Scout law are there. These are rules that are clear, and all of them are represented by key words, but have so much meaning to Scouts of today. For example, you have digital citizenship, where you're taking care of your data, where you're keeping it safe. And when you get emails or even texts today, if you don't know the person, most likely this is not within the Scout Oath and Law. So it should be something that you don't reply to and don't participate In some cases, it may be necessary to even report digital information, whether it be bullying or any of those things that go on through modern day technology, to help other people at all times. Now, this is the big second promise within our oath. This is a commitment to community service, being aware of our environment and even those that might have mental health issues, and doing kindness for others, even in small things. And this can happen in everyday interaction with the public. Helping others is not always physical. It can mean that we listen, huge part of communications. And it may even require us standing up for what is right and protecting others. To keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Physically strong is a huge part of the third promise that we make in the Scout Oath. We don't participate in things that are going to physically harm us. And we make sure that we take care of others by not showing up to work ill. This is true for meetings and other things that go on within scouting. We have to keep others from being injured from illness if we're not feeling well. Mentally awake. Now, this is a big one with a lot of scouts. Making sure that scouts have critical thinking skills. They can look at a situation and really see what is going on. Making sure that they have an opportunity for lifelong learning. And having the awareness of what is going on around you. So many times today we can get overstimulated, overloaded with information. It's important to take a break. And the final big part is morally straight. Staying true to your principles. We teach morals and principles in scouting through our oath and through the law. The Scout Law is keywords that have so much more meaning. Using these things is basically the scouting toolbox. And being consistent, morally consistent, is very important. And this should always be there with compassion and respect for others. Hey, before we go any further, I want to make sure that you know that you are invited to the campfire chat meeting we have each month on the first Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We get together around the campfire and talk about all kinds of scouting issues, and you have a reserved seat in the chat where you can ask questions of anyone on the live show. So you don't want to miss it. Let me take a moment to just thank all of the patrons on Patreon. They've been financially supporting this podcast for quite some time. Also, I want to thank all of the members of the YouTube channel that have also been supporting financially what we do here. If you have a moment, you can definitely check us out at ScouterStan.org. Okay, now that you got the information, let's head on back. Now, applying the oath to modern scouting. And this is true for a lot of different Cub Scout packs, scout troops, venture crews, and even Sea Scouts. The adult leaders are not exempt. They too should be standing and repeating the Scout Oath and Law at meetings. And this follows through to the parents. I'm always stunned when I visit a troop that the parents remain seated during the opening, even for the flag. A lot of times I try to put myself right in the middle there, and I encourage them to at least stand, put down whatever cell phone they're attached to, and take a moment to really think about the Pledge of Allegiance, an opening prayer, the Scout Oath, and the Scout Law. They should do the sign and repeat the words too. All of these values carry over not only just with the troop, but in a family life too, school, and even for adults, work. The oath actually goes beyond. It travels with the scout. After being a youth in scouting, this carries on throughout their life. So many former scouts have thought about these tools from the scouting toolbox known as the Scout Oath and Scout Law, when they're considering career, family, and anything they do within their community. The Scout Oath is not just recited words. It is lifelong code of conduct that we would like all that are involved in scouting to live by. The Scout Oath has been around for a very long time, and being a major part of what scouting is about. Not only the scouts, but the adult leaders and the parents should also participate and think about the Scout Oath. This can mean so much to your community, so it should be encouraged. Scouting is a fantastic way to give back to your community in your area, so adult leaders should actively promote the Scout Oath, and along with it, the Scout Law. I'm so grateful for all that you do in scouting. This is just one more step towards helping others within your community of scouting and where you live. Scouting values are fantastic, as we know, and don't keep them a secret. Make sure others are aware. It is so important, and you're a big part of that, and I'm very proud of what you do in scouting. Keep up the good hard work, and I look forward to seeing you on the trail.